everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome to this, the first day of the 2022 Lavinia Stamps Halaganza. So today I'm going to be sharing with you this super spooky little card with Willow Witch. I've got Tree of Wisdom here. I've got the bat colony because you can't have a witch without bats, I think. We've got mini lanterns here. I've got the mini foliage set to add a bit of interest at the bottom and it through the trees. I'm using a circle mask. The colours that I'm going to be using in Distress Oxides, I've got black soot, then mustard seed, which gives me the glow in my little lanterns. And then my purples that I'm using, I started with Shaded Lilac, then moved to Dusty Concord, which is a little darker, and then Villainous Potion, which is a super bright colour, only came out a year ago. And then we've got VersaFine Clear for my silhouette stamping to make these gorgeous stamps really pop. I'm also going to be using a couple of Posca pens, my trusty stencil brushes. I've got a fan brush, a tiny little paintbrush here. This is the number 1 brush, and then one of the tiniest little number 3 stencil brush there. I've also got in the background here a bit of stenciling. That's optional. So, spooky colours for a spooky time of the year. We'll get started. The size card that I'm going to be using is 10 centimetres by 17 centimetres. I'm using multifarious cardstock. And the first thing that I'm going to do is take my circle mask and pop it just to the left here of my card, slightly in and slightly down from the top. I'm going to take one of my stencil brushes and I'm going to start with the lightest colour. I like to start with the lighter colours and build it up that way. I also like to use more than one shade because that way you get a depth of colour that you can't achieve any other way. So dab, dab, dab on my stencil brush, start in my circle mask and just circular motion, just, you can see ever so lightly, I'm going round the edge of the mask, and I continue to put most of the pressure in the centre on the top of the acetate because I want this to be a gradual build-up of colour. I don't think it's necessary to tape your mask down because if it moves, you can easily just pop it back into place. Look, you can see the glow that's happening there, and you can see how you can easily reposition it. So we're going to start with Shaded Lilac, and then I'm going to move to Dusty Concord, which is a slightly deeper shade. Dusty Concord next. This time I'm not taking it out so far so that I'm getting a more of a definite shape around the edge of this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smallest stencil brush with my Villainous Potion, which is a super dark purple. If I just show you how dark that Villainous Potion is. It's super dark. I'm just going to take a bit of that off. Again, I like building up the colour gently, and there's too much on there. And I'm just gently going to colour the bottom of this moon like this. Again, it just gives it a tiny bit more definition. There we have it. And now, so that it doesn't look like a really stark, bright white centre, I'm going to go back to my Shaded Lilac. And I'm ever so gently just going to put a bit of colour in the centre. so that it's still very bright, but it's not stark. There you have it. So I started with that moon to give me the context for the whole picture. I'm now going to take Willow Witch, and I am going to use my stamping platform for this, just to make sure that I get her positioned and solid in the right place. So I'm just going to pop her, move these out the way, to the bottom and to the left a little. Using my Nocturne, we're going to stamp her and get a nice crisp image. We just give the ink a couple of minutes to soak into the paper, like that. I do like to clean my stamps off straight away, just with a bit of water and a cloth that I sit with on my lap at all times. And then I know exactly where it is, because I don't know about you, but my craft desk gets filled up. I don't know who does that. So we're just going to pop the little pot right next to her. Oh, I could take it out of the platform, but as we're here, I may as well continue. Now you can use, for the tree, you can use any of the trees that in the range. There are tons and some really beautiful ones. So I just chose this one because I thought it looked a bit spooky. And I'm going to ink it up well. And I'm going to pop it on just a bit below here. One on this side and one on the other. And we're going to pop this one so that's really coming into the moon a bit. There. So you can see how I used the whole side of the stamp on this side, and then only just the branches by orienting the stamp in a different way on the other side. I like to keep my mat really clean because I don't want it to transfer on other pieces of my design. So we have some fabulous things lined up for you in the next couple of days. I do hope you'll stay tuned. And if you're coming along, please come and say hi. Right, we're going to go with the bats now. This is the bat colony, and we're just going to ink it up with Nocturne there and put the bats so that they are flying across the moon. There we go. So you can see how we're building up our lovely little picture. I'm now not going to go in with my lanterns. And you get 2 lanterns in this set. And because I only want a tiny bit of stalk hanging down, I'm going to put it on my smaller block. I'm just going to ink up a tiny bit. I'm just going to take a piece of paper, tear it off. That's just normal copy paper. That helps me with a mask. And I'm going to pop these on this side. And one on the other side. Do them at different heights. Like that. Then I'm going to take my mini stars. And if you've watched me for a while, you'll know how much I love these stars. There are lots of stars in there. This is one of the pound stamps. And oh my goodness, you can have such fun with those pound stamps. Build up all sorts of detail in your designs. So you can see how this is coming together now. Really excited. Now we're going to ground our whole design. For this, I'm going to use black soot with my stencil brush. You can see I always dab it into the ink and then take a bit off. That way you don't get any blobs and you don't get a dense colour. So I'm just going to ground my tree first because that was at the lowest point. And then I'm going to go here all the way along and ground my pot and Willow Witch. All the time I'm moving my stencil in a circular motion. Might have to move that up a tiny bit. And don't worry if you have to do that because you're using the same colour. And with the same number of layers, you'll just be able to create a seamless transition there. Don't worry if you've got a couple of gaps, we will fix that. I might actually put a tiny bit of Villainous Potion in there as well. And although you might not be able to see it through the black, you'll get a hint of it. There you go, you can see. There's a hint of it through the black. That's not perfect there. Don't worry. You will see how we can camouflage that. Now, I'm just going to clean up this mat. So, along the bottom here, I'm going to use first my slender mushrooms. I love this. Look at this stamp. It's just gorgeous. So, with my piece of paper, I'm just going to use it as a mask, and I'm going to pop a few of these along the bottom there. Then I'm going to take this tiny little branch which comes in that mini foliage set, and you can use it for all sorts of things. You can use it to add extra depth to a tree, or what I'm going to do right now here is a bit of extra texture coming up from the ground, just to add to that sort of spooky look here. And moving my piece of copy paper here, I can create the mask wherever I like. So here we are again, because I had to do a double take on this video, because actually as I picked up my stamp, it flicked onto the open ink pad and had a huge smudge across it, and that's not very helpful for any of you. So here I am, having redone it. The only thing that's different is that I did this bottom piece slightly lighter than before. And that means that I can put some of my little branch stamp in the bottom. Just gives it a bit of extra texture. And you can see, look at that. The ink pad went straight across it. But you can see the other one that we did, that's slightly darker. But here we are. So we were just about to put this gorgeous foliage stamp hanging down on my branch. Yes, I know, the joys of video recording, hey? Here we go. but I love it. So would you have it any other way? I'm stamping this off once, so you get second generation of this lovely little stamp that's just sitting in the tree there. I just felt that if you put it first generation, it would be a bit dark. So I'm only going to put it on this side. I love that. And now I'm going to create the frame with my purples. I'm going to start with Dusty Concord. I'm going to use a piece of acetate so that if I've got any ink on my fingers, it doesn't transfer onto my card. I'm just going to start off lightly. So I'm literally just going to go all around the edge, but I'm not going to come too close to the center because we still want this white piece in the middle and the moon to be really prominent. So again, as always, using these lovely stencil brushes in a circular motion. And you'll have heard me say before in my videos that if you haven't got these, they are fantastic. So they're really dense brushes here. And you don't need one for every colour. I've got 6. And that, but you know what? They work really well. You don't even have to have 6, frankly. You just rub them off on a piece of kitchen towel or a cloth, and you can change the colour. So you can see as I went round there, I picked up the darker colour, the Villainous Potion, and went around the edge. That way it creates a bit more depth. I'm going to take mustard seed now. Tiny bit of water there with my smallest brush. This is a 1 brush. Just to create a bit of a paint there. You can use a coloured pencil if you wish. Probably a bit quicker, but I quite like the vibrancy that this gives us. I'm just going to colour in the inside of our little lanterns, creating a little glow there. And again, the fact that we've left this centre point white, again, just the whole thing is lighting up. Happy with that. We're going to decorate this bottom bit with 2 colours of Posca pen. We've got the purple, and I'm just going to do a few dots, not over the whole place. I'm just going to do a few dots around the pot, and then I'm going to pick up my white and do the same. But with the white, I'm going to extend it under my tree and extend it over this set of mushrooms over here. And I'm just dotting. Just going to put a couple of little dots in between my mushrooms on the other side of the pot. So I'm really happy with where we've got to here. And I think we've only got one more thing to do. That is to take our circle mask, pop it back into its position. I'm going to take Villainous Potion with my fan brush, and I am going to create some splatters all over our design. Again, it's going to just pick up that eerie potion-like feeling that she's created. Now, if you weren't sure whether you liked the look of that, and in fact, when I was designing this, that's what I did. I popped a piece of acetate, this is clear acetate, over my whole design and splattered it. And then I decided, yes, I quite like that. So I often use a piece of acetate. If I can't decide of a position of something, I'll stamp it onto the acetate and then position it around my card. So I hope you like that little tip. Now, there was method in my madness for talking to you for a few seconds because I just wanted to give that a chance to dry. I didn't want to peel off my mask and then scrape it across some of the splatters that we've got. So there we have it. Something really spooky for this time of the year. I do hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you have a wonderful next few days, keeping tuned with us as we share other tips and tricks with you, and my fellow design team members have loads of videos coming up as well. So until the next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.